Hey there, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time watching my video, you're highly welcome. But in this channel, I give tips to JAMB on how to pass their exams, give tips to university students to how to score really high in their exam, like to get a high CGPA. I also might also as well be posting some medical competencies. I'm a medical student, but not now. But for now, I'll just be focusing on the JAMB. Like this channel is all about examination excellence. So if you're interested in any of those things, please click the subscribe button. Just very easy, it won't take much of your time. Just click it and you're done. But if this is not your first time coming across my video or watching my video, well, you're highly welcome. Please ignore the noise in the background. Some children are making noise, so just ignore the noise. Like I said, this video is about tips on how to answer questions in JAMB correctly, especially questions that you don't know. Maybe you see a question you don't know for the first time, how to answer it correctly or how to guess correctly. You understand what I'm trying to say? But this video is for you. That is what this video is all about. So if you're interested in this video, please watch the video to the end, okay? So now I have like 7 different tips that might help you, that will help you, that because I'm using this method actually, and it's also helping me, so I'm pretty sure it's going to help you too. So now the first method I mostly use is elimination method. Now you'll be like, elimination method, is it math? It's not math. It's not the one you know in mathematics that is under simultaneous equation. No. This elimination method is very different. As the name implies, is just simply is method used when answering a question, used to eliminate options that are obviously wrong, but are not the answers. You understand? So if you come across a question in JAMB and you see out of the 4 options, you're seeing that there are 2 options that are obviously wrong, you immediately eliminate them. Okay, I'm going to give you an example so you understand better. Right, there's this question I wrote down here, so let's answer it using elimination method so you understand what I'm trying to say. Now I'm going to read the question. I'm going to paste the picture of the question in the screen here. So it says, plants have what type of nutrition? A, autotrophic, B, heterotrophic, C, saprophytic, D, parasitic. I'll read it again. Plants have what type of nutrition? A, autotrophic, B, heterotrophic, C, saprophytic, D, parasitic. Now using elimination method, okay, one thing about elimination method is that it only works if you actually read. Okay, elimination method works if you actually read. All right, it's not for guessing. Although I'm going to tell you guys the method to use when you want to guess, but this one is if you actually read. Okay, so know this now. All right, when you look at the option, you know that option C and D is obviously wrong. So you just don't even look at those 2. You strike them out. Just focus on option A and option B, and you know that the answer to this is what? A, autotrophic. Okay, that is they produce their own food. Plants produce their own food. So that is how elimination method works when it comes to examination, and this is what I've been using since, and it actually worked for me. It helped me score high. So know this, and it only works when you actually read. Okay, so the next method that actually works for me is, so this is a very important method. Take note, the B or C option. I call it the B or C option method. Yes, now this method is used for guessing. Yeah, so pay attention. This method is very used for guessing, and yeah, so this method is all about picking. When it comes to, if you're writing an exam and it has like 4 options, that is A, B, C, and D, and it says and it requires you to pick one answer, you use B or C method. Now most of the time with 4 options like these, the answers are mostly on B or C. They're mostly on B or on C. So what you just have to do, you just focus on B or C. Now this is for guessing. That is if you come across a question and you don't know that question, like that is the question you use, that is the first time you are seeing that kind of question. So just focus on option B and option C and just guess between their 2. Okay, but most times the answers are mostly on C. So most times whenever I'm in that type of situation, I mostly lean towards option C, but the answer can also be in option B. So just pick the one your spirit leads you, that kind of thing, between option B or C. Okay, but I'm not trying to say the answer cannot be option A or option D. They can, but when it comes to this kind of questions, it has even been proven that most of the answers when it comes to four options, they are mostly they are most of the answer either on B or option C. Okay, so when it comes to guessing, please guess like that. It makes your guessing to be 80% correct or 70% correct. You understand? So, and this is what I've been using since in my university, and this is what I also used in when I was writing my exam, and it helped me. I scored high. So that's all. That's all for this method. The next method I use is picking options that are mostly long. Most of the time, the options that are mostly long are the answers. This actually happened when I was writing my exam. I came across a question I don't know for the first time in physics. It was a theoretical question in physics, and they asked me a question. I can't remember the question now because it has been long. So they asked a question, and when I look at the option A was short, option B was short, option C was like a long sentence, D was short. And that option C, when I read the long sentence, it was screaming that's the answer. So I just took it, you understand? And when I submitted, when I went back home, I asked AI, and AI told me that option C was actually the correct answer. So most of the time, the option with the long answer is mostly the correct answer. Okay, all right. So take note of that. That's what I'm still using that method even when I'm in university, when I'm in school, and it's actually working for me. So yeah. Okay. I just want to like give an example of what I'm saying for that method. Okay. Now I'll post a question on the screen so that you understand. Although I'm going to read it here. The question is written in my notes here. So yeah. All right. A polar covalent bond is a bond formed when A. There is separation of electric charge in a covalent bond involving a shift of electrons towards a more electronegative atom. B. Lone pairs of electrons in an atom take part in bonding. C. There is transfer of electrons. D. Two atoms share a lone pair of electrons. E. There is partial transfer of electrons from one atom to another. So when you look at this question, like I said, you know that A is the answer because it's the longest option. It is well detailed and well explained, so you know A is the answer. So that is another way of like guessing correctly or picking the right answer. So most times in JAMB, the option that has the option that is the longest is mostly the correct answer. So hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and let's check the answer together. You see, the answer is A as well. So yeah. Now the next method I'm going to talk about is a method for only science students. Yes. So if you're someone who's offering physics or chemistry, this method is for you. Well, most this method is all about using formulas to answer physics or chemistry questions, theoretical questions. Yes. Now in this method, you need to know the formulas. You need to be acquainted with formulas in physics and chemistry. That's all. So there are some questions in JAM. They will kind of like define. Let me say for instance acceleration. Now they will define acceleration. But if you know the formula for acceleration, you could get that definition. You understand? They'll put the definition and say what is this thing called? Like is it acceleration, is it velocity, is it displacement? Well, you know formula for acceleration is change in velocity over time. So when you know that formula already, and when you are defining acceleration, you must already see something like velocity and time in the definition of acceleration. When you look down, you know you're talking about acceleration, then you click acceleration as the answer, that kind of thing. This also applies in chemistry as well. So if you know some formulas in chemistry, then when they'll define something, if you're able to know the formula, you're able to get the answer correctly. Okay, this is what I use in my JAM. There are some formulas that I know. Now when I saw they were defining something, they say identify the stuff. But since I know the formula, I was able to get the answer correctly. You understand? So know your formulas. It helps too as well in getting your answers correctly in JAM, not only in JAM, in other exams as well that requires you to use that requires you to write physics or chemistry. You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. All right. This next method is read your question very well. Read the questions very well, or not only questions. Read your. Let me say, if you're given a passage as well, read your passage or your question very well. Let me just put it like that, because because I remember when I was writing English, they gave me a passage, it's a passage. So yeah, a passage, but it's not like a closed passage. No closed passage. That is passage that are incomplete. Do not require you to like fill in the dash. They'll give you a passage that is incomplete. You get, do not say you should fill in those gaps. That is what a closed passage is. So they gave me a closed passage, and it was really hard. I thought I was going to fail. When I calmed down, I was reading the passage. I realized that some of the answers were in that passage. Like, you want them to fill for the first. Let me say, in the closed passage they are numbered. So let me say number one answer is in down in the passage. You understand? So when I was reading the passage very well, I was like, okay, this is actually for this one, this is actually for this one. So the answers were actually in the passage. You understand? And if I'm someone that is rushing if I'm someone that was rushing, I want you to take note of that, to be honest. And not only passage, your question, you need to read your questions very well, and also take note of your question, because sometimes the answers that can be in the question you will not know. You will just be clicking, because when I was answering a biology question in JAMB, there was a question I saw. In JAMB. I didn't even know it. Then when I skipped that. Okay, I just click any question. I not skip it. I click any option that I guess for now. But I was not answering other question, and I saw something relating to that question, and the question they gave, the answer was in that question. I was like, yo, that means this is the answer. So I had to like answer that question and go back and answer it correctly. So that I say, read your question very well, or take note of the question you're answering in your exam, your JAMB exam. Don't just rush, okay? Because some of those answers might be in your previous question you answered before. You understand? So yeah. The other tip is pray to God. Yes, you are going in there to write an exam. Pray to God. So all this is a method and university will actually work. So yeah, pray to God, because God actually helps. I am a Christian. If you are a Muslim, pray to your God. You understand? So pray to God before entering your exam, so He'll guide you to the right answer. Okay, that's just a very important thing to do. So the last tip is read your books very well. Okay, because that's the best way of answering your question. You need to read the books so you know a lot of answers to your question in your JAMB. Okay, read your book very well. Read your books very well in testing. So when you go there, the level of guessing will be reduced. Okay, so these are the tips that actually helped me when I was answering my JAMB questions and made me to score high. So if you like this video, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button. It is very easy to click the subscribe button. Just click it and that's all. Okay, like the video. Then if you have anything you want to tell me, or any video recommend, or if you want to make any specific video, you can just say in the comment section. I'm going to make it. Or if you have anything to say, or you want to compliment or praise me, or you want to give me some anything, suffice to talk, so I will learn from it, you just write it in the comment section. Okay, so that will be all for today's video. See you in my next video. Bye.